Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I hope you are doing well. I still feel just a bit out of breath. I've just come up the stairs, I've done my shopping. I thought we'd do a shopping video. I haven't done one for ages, but I thought today we'll do it with a little bit of a difference today. Oh, I need that. Because, you know, normally the focus is on how much it's cost me. We'll have a different focus today, and I'll come to cost at the end. It's not a huge shop this week. We'll talk about that. The reason I want to give it a different focus, or the different focus I want to give this today is, do you remember the other day when I was talking about cooking can feel like such a chore? So we need to have that sort of mental switch of, instead of letting it feel like a chore, let's celebrate our gorgeous ingredients, let's take a moment to see our ingredients, etc, etc. Well, I've got a similar attitude when it comes to shopping too. You know, look, we're all so busy, everybody's busy. It just seems like we live in a world where we're getting busier and busier and busier, and fitting in the most basic things like shopping for food and cooking food, it feels like a chore. It's something that's got to be slotted in somehow into all this other busyness and craziness. So I have a slightly different take on it, that I let myself enjoy my shopping time, my food shopping time. I turn it into a little miniature holiday every week. I tend to do a main shop like this once a week. Sometimes I will go out again a second time in the week to get fresh ingredients if I want fresh veggies or whatever, but generally it's once a week. And yet I make it into a little holiday, and I say to myself, for the next hour or so for instance, this is really quite a small amount of shopping, but it's taken me about an hour and 15 minutes in total, because I took my own sweet time when I was doing it. I didn't rush, I didn't see it as a chore. I saw it as my time to kind of chill a bit and take my time. So, as part of that, I've been to 5 different shops. There's one item I still haven't found, actually, remembering that in my area the supermarkets are all quite small, so there's one item I've come home without. I'll come on to that because there's a recipe to come soon too. But yeah, I've been to 5 different shops, and folk may say, oh, but you know, you can just go to the supermarket, hit the supermarket, get all this done in 15 minutes, get out, get back home and get on with other stuff. Yeah, I could, if I wanted it to be about rushing and busyness and a horrible dull chore, but I don't. I want it to be a pleasant experience. And part of that going to the different shops, again, this is something I was talking about when I showed you my Turkish market the other day. They fixed the fridges. Yay! It's a shame that day that the fridges are bust, because also down that side is like this huge section of fresh produce. Really lovely stuff, some different stuff. I would have loved to have shown it to you, never mind. But like I was saying for that shop, remember what it feels like when you go on holiday and you go shopping, especially if it's somewhere foreign. So for instance, a lot of us Brits, we go to the Mediterranean for our holidays, whether it's Spain, Greece, Turkey, and you may pop into a local supermarket while you're away to get, say, bread and cheese and some salad ingredients and a bottle of wine or some cold beers. I mean, that's the perfect Mediterranean diet, isn't it, when you're on your holidays? Bread, cheese, some salady bits and a bottle of wine. So you go into the supermarket to get all those things, and you end up in the supermarket for half an hour, 40 minutes, because you start looking around and pointing at things. Oh, what's this? I wonder what this is. Oh, what do you eat this with? Oh, should we try some? Should we take some back to the UK to try? And it's a lovely experience of just exploring and being open to new possibilities and being chilled. None of it's hurried when we're on holiday, is it? So that's how I treat my shopping in the UK. For an hour or so a week, I'm on holiday and I happen to be browsing for food. And by going to all the different shops, I keep things changing up. It's like, oh, what's that? And this is the other thing I'm always going on about. Because I shop on foot, I don't drive to an out-of-town supermarket, which is full of people I don't know, and everyone's rushing and busy and blah, blah. Because I'm shopping locally on foot, it always ends up that I'll bump into someone, a friend, and have a natter, and that's exactly what's happened today. I bumped into Kai at one of the shops. I was just checking out, so we went and stood to one side, chatted for about 20 minutes, so my shop would have been quicker. Had a good catch up on my house move, but also her youngest daughter is at uni doing a course I would have loved to have done, so how is she enjoying the course? All that kind of general chit chat between friends. That would not have happened if I'd got into a car, driven to an out-of-town supermarket. So I'm just saying, maybe every now and again, and I appreciate people are busy, I'm busy, but every now and again, make your shopping time each week, just 1 week of the month, tell yourself, I'm going on holiday for an hour and do some shopping. Right, so, excuse me, what did I get? Now, I mentioned there's one thing I couldn't get. I couldn't find, amazingly, I'm shocked actually, frozen spinach. I wanted to have some frozen spinach, obviously for the freezer, because the next recipe I'm going to share with you is going to be a store-cupboard dinner, store-cupboard supper, whatever you call your main meal in the evening. Store-cupboard, pantry if you like, we all have different words, don't we? So I'm going to do a meal basically from the cupboard in the freezer. That's what I wanted the spinach for. And that also reflects in my shop today. It often looks like I don't have much food when I've done my shop, but bear in mind, I have a well-stocked pantry, larder, store cupboard, whichever word you use. So for example, there's always going to be beans in this house, lentils, rice, pasta, all that dried stuff that you can buy in bulk and that lasts for ages and it keeps well for a long time too. So all of that kind of stuff, plus tins like tomatoes, beans, chickpeas, all of that. I always have some of those things. So it's always possible, if I can't get out, that I can create a meal without even going to the shops. So, but more of that when we come to that recipe. So today, excuse me, one of the reasons I've been, got this tickle again, excuse me. One of the reasons I've been to different shops is partly it's because I'm wanting to find organic produce and not all shops have all the things I want as an organic version, but also is trying to minimise packaging completely, certainly minimise the single-use plastic type packaging. And I know people have said that I can take this kind of packaging back to the supermarket for them to recycle. My supermarkets are so tiny, they don't take it. So, trying to reduce packaging means shopping around a bit. I'm bumping into friends, and it's sunny today as well, so standing on the street with a different friend, chatting in the sunshine. The pair was like, oh, like sunflowers. It was gorgeous. So, I've got some fresh spinach because I couldn't find any frozen spinach, but the great thing is it's organic, yay! The sad thing is it's in this plastic bag. I've never seen spinach being sold loose, so that's one of those where I just go, you know what, I just have to suck it up. So that's Lidl. Big punnet of blueberries, loads of them in there. I haven't kept my receipts, I beg your pardon. I know though that all of this has cost less than 15 quid because I went out with a tenner and a fiver in my purse and some loose change. And I've come home, there's no tenner, there's no fiver, but there is some loose change. So around 15. I've got some dried prunes. Shall I bring you close? Sorry, I feel like you're miles away. I've got some dried prunes. These will last, well, if I was being really naughty, these would last about half an hour. I love dried fruit. I was showing in one of my food for a day videos the dried apricots, which are running out. This will last about 2 weeks. That's 500 grams, half a kilo. So it'll do me over a couple of weeks. And then when these are finished, I'll get dried apricots. They will do me a couple of weeks. And then when they finish, I'll go back to prunes. So I alternate between the two. I would be happy with apricots all the time, but that's why every now and again swap out for, well, alternate weeks swap out for prunes, because otherwise I would just turn into a great big giant dried apricot. Garlic. So talking of store cupboards, garlic and onions are always in this house. The previous garlic, I've got about half of it left. That's going to be, I'll go through that this weekend with my cooking. Porridge, oats, top up my porridge, oats, brilliant. It's Lidl, I think it's 90 pence for a kilo, which is fantastic, and it's in a paper sack. So I tip it out, oh excuse me, the porridge gets tipped out of the paper sack and just goes into a tin, cute tin, old tin, just, you know, picked up second hand at some point. It's like everything, just pick up second hand, because obviously with something like the paper packaging, I don't have mice. I did have that episode years ago. I don't have mice, but even so, I don't want to leave it in its paper packet, so that's going to go into the tin. 90p. This is more store cupboard stuff. Excuse me. I don't know if I'm brewing a cold. It's that time of year, isn't it? I don't usually get a cold until about, until about March. It's March. Okay, so chopped tomatoes. Bayona is one of the main companies you see for organic tin stuff. There's Bayona, there's Suma. So this is from my health. Oh, I've just realised it's 6 shops today, not 5. So this is from my health food shop. That's £1.50 a tin, but I get my loyalty discount, so it's £1.35. I know people will be gasping. This is my preference. I want organic. And some chickpeas, again £1.50, so it's £1.35. Now, I do have in my store cupboard 2 tins of tomatoes and 2 tins of chickpeas already, but I know what I'm cooking this weekend, and both of those are going to go. So those are replacements for this week, but I probably won't use them. Next weekend, I probably get both of those again, just so that store cupboard stock builds up again, but without buying it all in one go and being an expensive shopping week. Now, in here, oh, I hope I haven't crushed any, they've been sitting in the top of my bag. That's, can you see, tomatoes, hold on, they should, oh, lovely tomatoes. So these, again, I can buy them loose at my Turkish place. So that's, oh, it's only about 1/4 of a kilo, but that's enough. Some broccoli, I got a couple of bits of broccoli. Oh, sorry, I can't remember how much it was. Yeah, I got no idea, so I don't know how much it was. But again, loose, so no packaging, fabulous. Savoy cabbage. But look how tiny it is. I looked in like 4 or 5 different shops and all the Savoys were really quite tiny. Again, it might be because it'll be coming to the end of the season with them. But that's gorgeous. That will do, I think that will do 3 meals. So whatever I'm having, and you know, hence the broccoli as well, that might do 3 or 4. But whatever I have to eat, I always like to have a bit of some greens steamed to chuck on the top. So if I'm having a curry, I'll steam some greens and just chuck them on the top at the end. If I'm having my, you know, one of my favourites, my fasolada, my Greek bean stew, I'll steam some greens and add them in. I like to try and eat a bit of green every day. Of course, sometimes I cook and the main part of the meal is greens, so I wouldn't add steamed greens at the end. It's just, you know, I was saying about foods being a work of art. Isn't that a stunner? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And look how just the edges of the leaves slightly tinged with purple. It's beautiful. Those crinkles. And we take time to actually look at these things. Gorgeous. A little wonder of nature. We're nearly there. And then finally, a couple of boxes of mushrooms. So again, in terms of packaging, I've gone to Tesco's for these because everywhere I can't buy mushrooms loose locally. They all come packaged, and in all the other shops they come in plastic trays, but these ones are in cardboard trays at least. So there is this wrapper to get rid of, but at least there's no plastic tray to get rid of. And what I'll do in terms of storing, I've mentioned it a gazillion times before, I'll just tip them out of these into paper bags. I'll just fold the top over and they'll stay out. They don't need to go in the refrigerator. They will be absolutely fine. All the veggies, bottom of the fridge. Otherwise, it's the store cupboard or with the porridge oats, decant them into my big tin. But yeah, that's a happy little lot of shopping today in terms of meals. So I'm going to do my store cupboard supper with you soon. You'll find out what that is when I do it. I am going to do my my meat-free pasta bolognese type sauce. That will cover 4 meals. I won't have all 4. You know my routine by now. Some for the freezer, some for the fridge. I'm going to also use the mushrooms in a similar way to make a chilli. So I've got kidney beans. I'm pretty sure I've got kidney beans in the cupboard, tins of tomatoes, etc., etc. So that'll make a chilli, and that will do 4 portions. What else? And on the chilli, I will have a bit of cheese, but I've got plenty of cheese left from last week's shop, so I didn't need to buy any. Chilli bolli. The surprise store cupboard one I'm cooking with you, that'll actually make 12 meals. But of course in the freezer I've got portions of fasolada, I've got portions of 2 different types of curry. I think I've got 1 portion of a risotto. So there's plenty to eat. This is all just sort of fresh stuff to top it up and to make a couple of new ones. And the tomatoes, I actually don't have a plan for them yet, but they look so lovely winking at me in the sunshine. I had to have them. There's a couple about that size. I'll think of something to use them for. They might even go into a chili or a salad of some sort. So there we are. That's my shopping for the week. Let me show you. So there we have it. Another week of really gorgeous, yummy, beautiful looking food. Can't wait to get cooking, and it's all of that's come in at around about, like I said, sorry, I don't know the exact amount, but it's about £15. So I think that's not bad considering so much of it is organic. Brilliant. And the big thing here is a massive reduction in packaging. So in terms of packaging that I'll need to dispose of, I've got that from the blueberries, the bag that the spinach came in, the bag around the mushrooms but not the tray, and the prunes. Otherwise, they've either got no packaging at all, or like with the mushroom trays, porridge oats and the tinned stuff, that is all stuff that can go. I'm definitely getting a cold, sorry. That's all stuff that can go into the recycling. So I am very pleased with that. I could do better, it could be better, but it's not bad. That's the main thing. All right, lovelies, I will see you all again really soon, I hope, and either the next video or the one after that. let's make dinner for ourselves from the store cupboard. See you then. But until then, cheerio.